Welcome to our Accounts Receivable training for Dynamics 365 Business Central, or BC as we will refer to it. For the training today, we've looked at the Accounts Receivable role and broken the role into different functions, which means we're going to show you how to manage your customers. So basically doing that through customer templates, updating your customers list using Excel, looking at customer statistics. And then we're going to look at making sure that they pay on time, you're invoicing your customers on a timeless basis, and also knowing if they're going to be likely to pay late. And we'll be doing that through the sales orders not shipped. And also we'll be looking into the fact box as well, and how you can take a payment for a single customer or a payment for a group of customers. And then we're going to look at what we can achieve through Outlook when wanting to know something about your customers. So we'll just go through that functionality. And then finally, a standard report that you can schedule, because I'm not sure if people know how to schedule reports. And then we're just going to look at some of the insights and Power BI for this presentation. So let me just swap over to my Business Central demonstration. Now, normally when I do my presentations, I will use the business manager role, but you'll notice today I'm using the accountant role. And I just feel that for accounts receivable, this most probably has a bit more functionality for the accountants, for them to use. So you'll notice it's slightly different. You've got a different menu at the top. Don't forget, this is your shortcut area at the top here where you can actually bookmark stuff. And this is where I say we talk about the insights, and you're getting something slightly different. So in this case, we've got a cash cycle. We've got some queues up here telling us basically, purchase documents due for payment today. We've also got down here a cash flow forecast, and obviously some of the accounts that you're interested in, and obviously sales trends by customer groups, and obviously trailing sales orders. So we're going to come back and have a look at these options along with some of the Power BI stuff as well. So let's start with setting up our customers. So one of the things is when we're setting up customers, obviously we can go into customers and we can click on new and we can start entering. But what we find is that it's most probably very useful to use something called customer templates, which basically means you can actually set up a template with most of the information pre-filled out, and therefore when you want to create a new customer, you can just take one of these templates and then just add the unique information. So again, I've got customer templates. You could set up new. In this case, I'm just going to take one that's existing. So in this case, I've just got a sample there. Business to business, it's company. You can set up default registrations. Not sure why they've got that in there, but anyway. So you've got addresses, you've got your country or region. So that obviously Australia, you could change this into English if you wanted to, or just leave it blank. Obviously your default sending profile. I suppose the important part here is the default posting groups. And you may want to have default price groups or customer discounts, depending on the template that you're setting up. So you can have as many different templates as you want. And again, basically, this would be your default payment terms for this particular type of customer. And do you want to set up your print statements? And again, we've got the shipping location and shipment method. So these are what the default fields that you can set up in a template, so that when you go and create a new customer, you can actually just click on that option and it will default that information. So let's go and have a look. So if I just take this one here, Custo 4, I'm just going to go new. That didn't work. So let's just try another one in here. Let's just take this one, which obviously has some information. Unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be working, but you could actually just go in new, not say new, and just go in and create a new customer to start with. What I do want to do as well, for some of you who notice all of this, especially those of you who are on version 19, that the page has gone missing now. We used to have an option here called page. That has now being moved to this little box here, and in this case you can edit in Excel. So again, if you want to maintain your customers and the customer information, you'll just click on there, Edit in Excel. Obviously, once it's opened, you'll open it up. It may, in this case, ask me to log in because I have several email accounts. We'll just see which one it's going to pick up. No, it's actually picked it up. Let's have a look, see. Come into here, enable editing. It's just verifying, yep, I need to log in. So I'll just quickly log in as myself. You normally won't have to do this. This will actually automatically start up with your own Microsoft account. So once it's done that, it will bring out the information into here. As you can see, it's bringing back all the data. It just tells you what's going on at the bottom of the screen down here. So once this has been populated, you can then come in and start actually editing the information. So in this case, I may be wanting to work on phone numbers for some reason. So again, I can just come in here and put in a few numbers, tidy them all up. I'll choose another one up here and I'll go 7422222. And you can also, don't forget, update things like your salesperson code. And again, if you just put in a default value or an incorrect value, it will actually, if I try and publish this back, what it will do is actually tell me that there's an error in there. And again, it's giving me my list of valid values. So I'll just choose this one. I will publish it again. And once it's been published, I can actually close this down. I'm not going to save that information. And if I go back and I just go to chart of accounts, just to refresh my screen, I'm going to come back into my customers. And we will notice that the information has now been updated. So you'll now see there's the information I've brought through, and I've updated a few of my salespeople as well. So don't forget, if you want to do a very quick editing of information and updating your customer information, to come in version 19, to come to this share icon and edit in Excel. Now, if I go and actually have a look at a customer, and if I drill into a datum, and I'll just take this one as an example, there are some important fields that you do need to fill out that will be used by other areas of the business. So credit limit is an important field to fill out, especially if you want to control spending and get warning messages coming up. So when people are putting in sales orders or sales quotes or invoices, it will actually warn you that the customer is actually going over. Salesperson is obviously a very important one because that plays a part, not only from managing the account and making sure that your sales reps are on top of everything, but also it's a good filter field as well for pulling information out. Some of you may want to use your document sending profile. In my case, I've got direct file, which means every time I want to post something and send an email, it will go direct to file, or I can do emails with the prompts or emails with no prompts or print. So these are just some of the options that I've sent out. So it can be worth setting this up. Just remember, if you are using your campaigns, whether this will actually have an impact on there as well. Don't forget your ABNs need to go in on that side. And then don't forget your billing address. So we've got our billing address here. And obviously when it comes down to the shipping side, you can have your different ship to addresses as well. So in this case, I've got two set up, one for Charlton and one for London. So that's a good one to put in, because this again will be used by the sales team when they're actually shipping documents out. Don't forget, you've also got your contacts, so you can set them up. So I've got my default contact there, but you can always just go navigate contact and actually add in new contacts to this particular customer. And don't forget that you always will have a company contact where all the interactions are logged against, and then you get your specific actual people where interactions will be logged against them when you've engaged them in an interaction. But if I had 3 or 4 people here, every single interaction would definitely go back against the main company contact. Don't forget, if this is someone overseas, you can actually put in the currency code that you were dealing with them, which means all the transactions will be dealt with in New Zealand dollars, US dollars, euro, just depending. The other one that, as I mentioned before, is the posting groups. So these will pop up. And again, price groups. So if you are linking customers to specific price lists or to discount groups, to make sure that you populate that as well, because then that will just assist on the sales side so that the salespeople don't have to think of what prices they should be offering the customers. Obviously, the payment terms is obviously very important in here. With all the payment terms, payment method, and again, if you are sending out reminder letters to them, to set that up as well. And also you've got the option here, do you or don't you want to print statements to the customer? And if you do, it will then record the last one. So in my case, I'll just say, yes, I'm going to. Now there's another, as I mentioned before, on the shipping side, you can have the two options there, but there's another field here called location, which basically means when I sell to this customer, which warehouse would be their default location. So if I've got a Brisbane warehouse, a Sydney warehouse, and a Melbourne warehouse, but this customer is generally based in Melbourne, therefore they would come out of the Melbourne warehouse, you can put this on the customer record so that when your staff start raising sales documents, it will automatically default to that location. And the last part we want to look at is on your customers. Don't forget to set up the dimensions for them so that this will then follow through to all transactions, bearing in mind that you can change your dimensions when you're actually posting a document. But if you set them up here, they will follow through automatically. Now, there is a couple of other options that people don't often refer to or look at is customer and statistics. So if we look in here, we can see what their balance is. On the sales side, we can have a look what's outstanding, what's been shipped and not invoiced. Obviously, if we're using the service module, you'll get some of that information coming through. You've got your credit limit and the overdue amounts as of today's date. But you'll also get down here all your statistics of sales, costs, profit, adjusted costs, all this different information, how much they've made in payments or refunds that you may have given them. So it's showing me not only my current period, but this year, last year, and to date since they've been with a customer. The other option that most people are not aware of is under Navigate, you also have document layouts. So in here, you can say, right, for a confirmation or a sales order confirmation, this is the layout that I would like to use. And I can also set up the default recipients just by clicking on select email from contacts, and then I can select who will get a copy of that order confirmation. The same with the invoice and the same with the statement, so that when we do press the email button, we know it's going to the right people. So that's basically setting up some of the customer information or managing not only the important stuff, but how to edit some of your fields too. So the next one area we're going to be looking at is keeping on top of your customer payments. So what I'm going to do is I've actually bookmarked my sales orders. I don't think this is naturally bookmarked in the accountant's role. So I've bookmarked onto that one. Now, what I've also done is I've actually set up a filter here called completely shipped. Again, you can just come in, click on your filter button, and you can see I'm now trying to see what sales orders have been shipped but not invoiced. And that's where I've used the filter down here, completely shipped, set to yes. So this basically will tell me, right, these are the documents that have been shipped but not invoiced, and I can see, well, why have they not been invoiced? So again, to make sure that everything that has been shipped needs to be invoiced, you can keep an eye on these particular documents and obviously chase up with the salespeople saying, okay, I've noticed you shipped it. Why haven't you invoiced it? Let's take it to an invoice, because obviously they're going to get the goods. We want to invoice so we can get the money as well. Now, one of the other options that we've got here is setting up something called late payment predictions. Like, how do we know if the customer's even going to pay us on time? What's their track record? So I've got, if I go to my search button, I can come in and go late payment setup. I'll just type it in. If it's going to find it. And you can just type in late payment prediction setup. You can enable it. It does use a standard model. This is all using the Azure Artificial Intelligence platform. And it will then go through and work out, and you can then schedule it, and it will go through and work out whether this customer has a track record of paying on time at all or not. So let's have a look. So we've done this sales order. We've actually shipped it. I'm going to come into here. And then once you've turned on your late payment prediction, you can go into prepare and predict the payment. At this stage, it will go, this payment is predicted to be late with high confidence in the prediction. So basically what it's telling me is that this company, my software company, has a bad track record of paying. So again, once you've turned it on and set it up, and I think I've scheduled mine to recalculate every morning, I can see, well, this guy's actually, yeah, definitely. So again, I can then go back into the customer record and possibly look at his payment terms and saying, well, I'm actually giving him 1 month. Maybe I should actually take it to 14 days, hopefully that he will then meet his 1 month mark that we originally intended for him. I think if I look at another one here, if I go into this one and we just do the same thing and we go into prepare, predict payment, no prediction needed, this guy's overdue anyway. So again, depending on the actual document, in this case it's a sales order, it will tell you whether he's likely to pay on time, not pay on time, or if it's way overdue. And this functionality of prepare and predict payment is available right back at the quotation stage as well, so you can always check. And then also don't forget, you can always turn on, if I come back to my software company and click on the fact box, and again, you're going to get different views depending on where you click on it. So again, here I've got a summary of the sales invoices. So yes, I can see there's quite a few there that have, well, one or a couple that are about to go out. These are the 3 items on there. This is basically looking at it from a sales order point of view. And you can come in and just see again, credit limit, overdue, total sales, just giving you some more information on the fact box from the sales order. Now, when it comes to paying, you can obviously just process a payment for a single customer. So in this case, I will start with my customers listing. I will just highlight, so Datum are actually going to pay me. I will just go process and register my customer payment. Now for me, because I've got multiple accounts, it's asking me which one. But if there's one that my customers will always pay into, once I've set it, I can set this as the default, and then the screen won't pop up again. So if I click on there, I can say, yes, the Datum are going to be paying these amounts. And again, if they're short paying, I can come in here and say, right, there's only going to be spending 400, leaving the 554 as a remaining amount. So that's quick and easy. And again, preview, and we can preview the posting before we actually do post it. And again, I can check my posting to see where it's all going to before I actually do post. And all I would then do is post my payment. No, I'm not going to actually process that. Now, the other way of doing that, instead of doing it from the customer screen, if I've got my bank statement and I'm manually going to record everyone paying, what I would do is I will actually use the option up here. In fact, let me just see if I've actually bookmarked it. No, I haven't. So I can go register customer payments. I can see it's there. If I do use this often, I will just bookmark it. So that will now bookmark it for me. And then I can actually access it from here. Again, it's going to ask me the same question because I don't default my account. And in this case, you will now see it's bringing back every single invoice that is due for payment. Now, you may want to go, well, that's a lot of customers to look for. So what I might want to actually do is use my filter on name. And in this case, I can then go in and use my wildcards and say, right, it's this for everything called with got the word company in it. So there comes back my head office software. So it will filter out that way. And then again, I can say, well, they definitely paid. And I also got some payments from my mining company. So you can do it that way. And again, you've got the preview and you've also got the post. So that's a second option of doing that. The final one is in cash management, and you've got cash receipt journals. Now, I've got two here. I'm going to start with the general one first. So I'm going to come in here and I've got, well, there's a payment from this customer for Alpine Ski House. And I've also picked up the invoice. Now, what you'll notice is I've got a balancing account type going to my GL. So if I look at this particular posting, you'll notice it's got a general ledger entry. So again, it's going off against my customer into my petty cash account because that's my balancing account. What you should have noticed, or may not be aware of, is it will go against the general ledger. It will also go to the customer ledger and to the detailed customer ledger entry. Nothing is hitting the bank account. So now when I come to do my bank reconciliation, if I was to post this journal, it would not appear on my bank account. If I take this one here, which is my CBA, you'll notice I've changed it to balancing account and I've picked up the actual bank account. So if I come into this one, again, I've picked up a customer 1000 at datum. I can come in, there's the invoice. But you'll now notice I have the balancing account type bank account. If I now come and do my preview posting, you will now notice that I will get a bank account ledger entry. So this will now appear in the bank on the right-hand side when I come to do my bank reconciliation. So just be aware of that. If sometimes you find that your journals or any payments that you're using through this way are not appearing on your bank statements, please make sure that your balancing account has been selected correctly here. The other thing that we need to point out is that if one of your customers, and I'm just going to pick up and show you a customer of mine, cash, let's look for this one. If it's got the payment method, and I'm just going to scroll down to it, as cash, every time I post an invoice, it will automatically raise a payment journal for me. So this is really great if you've got counter sales and people are raising an invoice at the counter, it will automatically raise the payment as well, and it will apply it to the actual invoice. So just be careful when you do use payment method cash. So that's just some of the options about making sure that the customer's paying and recording all his payments. The next thing I wanted to look at was maybe you out and about and you haven't got access to Business Central. You can also have a look at your customers through Outlook. So in this case, Taylor has sent me a request to send an invoice, but what I want to do is actually just check up on this customer, and I'm doing this through Outlook. As I said, I don't have to be logged into Business Central, but you do need to turn this feature on in order to have it. So I'm just going to click on my three dots, Business Central, Contact Insights. So again, I'm having a look in here to see a little bit more about Taylor and what company he works for. So I can see he works for Earthshaker. Again, I've got all the details and I've got the hyperlink, so I can actually drill down and check their invoices. So again, I'm doing all of this without actually going into BC. I'm getting a chart in here. I'm getting some of the cues as well, so I can see what's actually going on. I've got some statistics. Again, whatever you're seeing in BC, you're going to see this in your Outlook as well. And by the same token, you will also see this on your mobile phone or tablet if you download the app. So again, I get some more information on this side. Now, you've also got the eye up here, which is toggle my details. And this is now allowing me to actually come in and edit the customer through Outlook. In this case, I'm actually just going to open this in a bigger window because that's a little bit of a tiny window to work in. So I'm just going to expand that. And again, you're going to see the same screen that you see in BC in Outlook, and it just allows me to maintain my customer in here as well. So I can come in and change some information. So maybe I don't want the phone number, that's wrong. I can go and put in another number here, 9236457 or 0, and I can come and update in here. And once I've done that, it will actually change that information back into BC. So that's a useful one to do. So once I've actually done this, I can go back to that screen. I don't need to know anything more. And I can come back to the invoice. Now, what I will have over here is on this particular invoice, because this is all running on the Microsoft Azure platform, we get the artificial intelligence coming through. So again, Taylor wants a copy of this invoice. It's smart enough to, it's recognized the word invoice, it's recognized the number and says, well, they must be talking about invoice 103441. So again, it will bring up the invoice. I can view it. I can just make a larger window in here and say, okay, what's Taylor wanting? He wants a copy of this invoice. Let's have a look. Yep. Okay, fine. Happy to send that to him. Just click on the 3 dots at the top and I can send the email to him and he will get it. And I can do all of this without being in BC. So it's just to give you an alternate way of managing your customers. So finally, what we wanted to show you today was to go through some of the reports. Now you'll notice for some of you, and again, if you don't have all these options, remember, you may just need to personalize and turn on some of these screens. As you can see, you just click on personalize. Some of my stuff is hidden. If I want to see it again, I would just actually click on show. And don't forget, you can also move all these areas around so that they're just in a more comfortable position for you to work with. So once you've got things working the way you want, there's an option down here called Report Inbox. So basically what's happening is I want my aged accounts receivable listing to come through to me every Thursday without me having to go and run it. So I could actually come up to here and go aged accounts receivable, find my report, come into here and say, right, age as of due date, and set all this up and then print it or preview. So to schedule this, what we would do is just click on send to, we would click on schedule and go okay. So it says, well, how do you want this? So I've got accounts age receivable is my description. What's the output? Do I want it in PDF, Word, Excel? Do I want to actually print it, or absolutely nothing? Just go ahead and do something else. But that particular option wouldn't really apply to a report. And then what's my next run date formula? So again, I can say, well, when do I want to run it? So I want to run it on a Thursday. And I can also the earliest start date and time and expiry date. So I may want this to be run continuously for the next 6 months or just another month. And when can I start it? So like run it first thing in the morning. So when we actually set up a schedule, it creates what we call a job queue. So I'm actually just going to call up my job queue. There's my job queue entry. So these are all the jobs that are running in the background for me. And you can see this one here, which is basically on hold. So let me go in and have a look. Here's my report. There's my earliest start date time and end time. So this is actually going to finish on the 2nd of January next year. I've requested a PDF. If it was a printout, I could actually send it directly to a printer. And you can see that I set this up as a recurring job to be run every Thursday. So you can actually come in, once you have scheduled it, you may want to tweak it and say, well, I actually prefer it on a Friday. I can say, well, run it on a Friday, not on a Thursday. And then when you're ready, once you've done that, you will say restart and it will be set to ready to be run for my next option, or no, next time it comes around. And then when it comes around, it will come into your report inbox. And all you need to do is just click on that. It will throw up my aged accounts receivable. And there's my report coming through. And then I can do what I want to do, print it out, download it. It's up to you what you want to do. So that's just something to be aware of, that you can actually schedule reports and put them in here. The other one we wanted to look at, and I thought this was quite a nice one on the accountant's role, is this trailing sales orders. So it gives you a couple of options here. So show all orders or orders until today or delayed orders. So I might go, well, just show me all orders until today. I've got it for the month by month. So September, October through to December. And let's have a look at some of the other options. So that's my period links. I could do it by quarter, week, or by day. The options, do I want to do it by amount or just the number of orders? And again, what kind of chart do I would like to show? So again, this is the one here. So I can see all these are open. Some of them are pending approval. I haven't got anything for there, pending prepayment or release. I mean, all I need to actually do is just actually click on that area of the graph, and it will actually take me through to all those particular sales orders. And again, the same with this amount here. What are these ones that have been released but not gone through? So I just thought that was give you quite a good summary of all the orders that are waiting to go out, and it's a very quick link. So again, have a look at some of the graphs that are on here. So you've got sales trends by customer groups, what's happening. So again, domestic versus foreign. You can actually just choose the next chart. Again, just have a look and play around and see what's in there that may be value for you. So there's my top 5 customers by sales values. So there's a datum, and again, I can have a look in there and see what information that was. So there's my datum corporation. And the last one we really wanted to look at was your Power BI. Don't forget that if you've got a whole lot of information you want to analyze and you want to have specific graphs with lots of drill downs, you can get stuff developed in Power BI. I mean, you can just bring it inside BC. So all you would do is upload a report. And in my case, I've got a whole lot set up in here. So some of these have come straight through from Business Central, from Microsoft. And some of them are just ones that we have put together. So again, I may want to look at my customer profitability sample. So once that report is actually showing, I will come in here, and it's a bit small, so I may just want to go manage. And again, depending on the license that you have, depends on what you'll see on the screen. So in this case, I get to see some of the filters, some of the visualizations, but again, it's easier for me to view it in view mode, which basically means it will pop out and I've got one dashboard, but I've got several pages. So I can have a look at the industry margin, and I can say, well, show me the insurance industry or show me the paper industry. And again, I can say, well, show me what's going on with that particular product, if there was anything or not. And again, I can have, this is another example of a scorecard. But I might possibly just want to come back to the main one and say, well, show me what Tina's actually doing. Where's she going? Where's all her sales? What's actually happened? Show me everything for January where she was selling. Show me everything where she's selling in June or July. So again, these are just some options that you can use within your role as an accounts receivable person. So I think that's really what we wanted to show you today. Managing your customers, getting them to pay. I think the late payment prediction is a very useful one to have. And again, just what you can and can't do with your customers in Outlook and being able to look at them without actually coming back into BC. I mean, just some of the reports and some of the graphs that you can use.